In this segment of our video series on terrain editing, we're going to talk about the UI and Tools in Scene Designer used to edit and paint terrain. First, let's make sure our terrain command panel is visible. So first go to View Command Panels and select the Terrain Command Panel. So as you can see, I have docked the terrain panel on the right side here. And basically I want to go through some of the user interface elements of the terrain command panel. At the top, you can see that there are import and export buttons. These buttons allow you to import existing height maps or export your current height map for fine-tuning in Photoshop or some sort of other art package. Below that, you can see brush shape. In this release, we have support for a circle brush, and then you can adjust the inner and outer radius of that circle brush. Below there, you can see an empty list of brush elements. Brush elements are basically building blocks or operations that you can apply to your terrain as you paint, and each of these elements can be chained together. For example, if we click the Elevation Sculpt tool, you'll see that that brush element is there visible, and you can adjust its strength and its percentage of that strength to apply to the terrain as you paint. Next, we have a Flatten tool that allows you to just flatten areas of your terrain. We have a Blend or Smooth tool that allows you to go and fix up any sharp edges of your terrain and smooth those out. We have a Noise tool, which allows you to specify strength of noise and just applies random noise as you paint the terrain. This last tool is called Align Sculpt, and Align Sculpt is a little different from Flatten. It's very similar, but depending on where you click on the terrain, it might align to the bottom or the top of your click. As I said before, you can actually chain these operations together. So if I click Elevation, and I want to elevate my terrain, and I also want to apply noise to my terrain as I elevate, I can merely drag and drop my noise brush element to this list of brush elements. So now as I paint, you can see that the Elevation tool will get applied, as well as the Noise Sculpt tool. So I will have noisy, elevated terrain as I paint. And we'll get into that a little later. The other command panel that I want to look at is the Material Palette command panel. And so if we go to View Command Panels and select the Material Palette, we'll see that this will bring up a list of materials. Now I like to drag my material palette to the bottom here so I can see it a little better. And what the material palette does is it allows you to edit existing terrain materials and create new terrain materials. So if I right-click an existing terrain material and do Edit, we can see that this dialog box appears that allows you to specify the name, a package that you want your material to belong to, and specify different textures for your material. So textures that comprise, so a terrain material can have various different textures applied to it. It can have a base map with an optional detail map in the alpha channel of the base map, and it can have a normal map with an optional parallax map in the alpha channel of the normal map. And as you paint the terrain and assign textures to your material, the terrain will automatically update and respond to those changes. You can also tag materials, which show up down here on the left side, but we can tag materials with any human readable tags that we want to make it easier to search for them. You can also assign arbitrary metadata to a terrain material. And metadata is extremely application specific, and it's very generic, but it allows you to attach things such as speed, audio, or any string descriptions, integers, floats, etc. to a material that you then paint on the terrain. In the runtime, as a player or someone is walking across the terrain, you can use an API to query for metadata at that point. And of course, metadata is weighted based on the amount of material present at that location.